Hey there, everybody. We are back with another episode of Innovating Instruction. This is for new media. We are building a course in new media, and so far in this series, we've got oriented with the class as a whole, and then have done week one defining new media. And so what I do in this series is I use publicly available tools and technologies, new media technologies, in order to create a class on new media. So it's very meta. And I am learning through that process, but also explaining what I already know. If you are interested in using ChatGPT just to prepare a course, this might help give some inspiration. If you're specifically interested in new media, this would definitely be appropriate. Or if for this particular episode, you're just kind of interested in principles of communication and want to see how they apply to new media, then this would be a good one as well. Okay. So up until this point, what we've done is we've just defined new media. I think I skipped the history of the internet. I feel that's kind of a straightforward but important piece of information, and I think that is an ability that most instructors have, and I feel that I can probably get through that one. I might make that a short class and more discussion oriented. But let's talk now about week two. And now week two is where we're going to talk about principles of communication. And so I'm kind of using the same language that I had for the prompt in week one, where I just give a copy paste of the outline that I got from ChatGPT in the orientation and use that as a starting point. And you see in this document, I am using headings in order to kind of create a good structure as you go. And then let's do this week two, I think. I think I already have it on the clipboard. Here, let's take a look at that. Yeah, there we go. Principles of communication, week one. There we go. So I'll just highlight that. I'm just going to make, oops, not that one. We're going to make that heading 1. And we're going to make the individual classes heading 2. Oh, wait, what am I doing? Oh, geez. All right. So let me be honest with you. One thing I forgot to say was that between the last episode and this one, I've taken some time off, just family vacation that we had planned for a very long time. But during that time, I kind of used it as an opportunity to look at what I've done in the first couple of weeks. And so what I realized is that this is really just a shell of a class that you're creating with a lot more detail, a lot more direction about where you're going to fill in the information with actual published content. And what I mean by that is, what are students going to read on, outside of class time in order to give them a perspective on the topic that might not be your own, right? Like coming in and listening to you is good, but having the perspective of somebody else's voice, I think, is also really good. And it's an opportunity to just kind of get familiar with different perspectives. I think that's a good thing to do outside of class, whereas inside of class, I do a lot of discussion oriented around a particular topic. So it's a guided discussion. Or sometimes activities, like maybe they discuss it with me, maybe they have discussion groups, and then it's an internal discussion that's happening. Maybe it is a type of activity where at the end they produce something, some sort of thing that the group or they themselves put together. All right, so that is I'm trying to, I'm starting with like, all right, what are some like lecture materials? If you look through and what we did, we found some sources and I'm going through it and I'm confirming that they are actually real sources. Now, remember that on ChatGPT, sometimes it combines different sources from, that like a different author with a different title, because it's kind of generating it that way for one way reason or another, and it just kind of hallucinates. So just be very careful about that. Okay. um, yeah, the history of the internet, I didn't really build that out. I kind of let ChatGPT build that one out. But for the definition of new media, we did a lecture. What else? Yeah, defining new media. There's a few of these. So, and this kind of helps build out my like a slideshow. Okay, so let's do that again. All right, here we go. We're gonna do new media. So just keep in mind. So, but also this time, what I've done is I opened up a Google Scholar tab, um, that so I could kind of look stuff up that way as well. All right, let's take a look. Language. All right, the impact of text speak on communication. What I want is I need some sources, right? Because that doesn't seem to have the appropriate weight. Not only that, but uh, if you've ever, if you're a student watching this, you know that I give at least 1 week tripping out on language in and of itself. That language exists, what it does, and this one doesn't quite have that. All right, so I want more on language, not just I want to give, like, you got to give them a foundation about what language is. So even more fundamental than just jumping to emojis and text speak. All right. Um, hmm. Feedback loops and echo chambers. I'm wondering. So I know I just pasted that in there. I'm wondering why that's in the language and new media. Um, so what I'm thinking is I kind of want to change that around a little bit. I don't know. I'm not too keen on that. On either it's misplaced or um, where would be a better place for feedback loops and echo chambers? Let's take a look at the semester overview. Algorithms, personal data, privacy, personal, intimate, professional, new media, business marketing, professional, legal and ethical, equity access, legal and ethical, recognizing scams and online security, misinformation and disinformation, fake news, digital interactions. So the feedback loops and echo chambers. Don't you think that might be more of a misinformation or disinformation? Because echo chambers might be digital tribalism. Um, Whereas echo chambers might be. Okay. So you can always come back to that one for. And let me put a little new note in here. Sounded Canadian for a second there. Let's do echo chambers there. And wait. Oh no, but feedback loops. Oh, so it just that's good in going into the communication model. That's what's missing here as well. So language and the communication model, we're only spending a week on that because we're going to focus on the topic itself, but then we're going to spend a week right up the front getting a foundation. And so I think that this ought to be more of a, okay. The first section of class 3. Discuss language. I don't know. Now I'm nonverbal communication. Hmm. I like. Okay, so this one's okay. So I'm back to removing it and putting the feedback loop and echo chambers elsewhere, right? I want class 3 to be just about language. Have class 3 discuss language entirely. Include the uniqueness of the uniqueness of language as an ability of humans. I love telling people that because I, uh, they often respond with, well, they have, birds have their own language. And I'm like, well, I'm using the word very specifically to talk about syntax and speaking in sentences. Um, and that's pretty literally what a language is. And so I'm totally fine with people using a more loose conversational term of it, but until there is a better word to use that kind of distinguishes it, I think that's still a really appropriate way to phrase it. And I don't think I really tripped out about that particular fact, and I like sharing that information. The uniqueness of language's ability to humans, and move feedback loop um, for and echo chambers to misintonation. What did I do? Okay, here we go. So I want it to be. I just want to talk about language. I want to have um, one thing where we focus on language. Duality of distinctive characteristics of human language, such as productivity, displacement, and duality of patterning. Oh, I like. I looks like I'm going to learn something new. Okay, so duality of patterning is definitely a new term for me. Characteristic of human language whereby speech can be analyzed on two levels. Oh, this is. Oh, I love learning something new. ThoughtCo. Okay. And not only that, but let's say is what gives language such expressive power. Oh, and they're citing their sources really well. Psychology of language and integrated approach. Um, ooh, and now what you have to do is okay. So that's great. Productivity, I'm like, we can produce it. Displacement. What does that mean in terms of language? We can do that as well. But I love the. Oh, let's take a look at Google Scholar. What is language and cognition? That might be a good one. That's 2012. Can I do since last year? Um, Not really. Well, let's see if I could do. All right. What is duality of pattern? Language and cognition, language, new perspectives. Cambridge. Cited by 57. All right, let's see if I can get this one. NIH.gov. Okay. All right, let's go back here. We could get this in a second. I'm sorry, I'm skipping right here. So let's looks like I'm going to look that up as well. Discuss how language enables humans to express complex thoughts. Okay, that one I kind of wing it. I might have some stuff on that already. The role of language in shaping culture, identity, and social interactions might be a bit much for for a single day. I kind of want to I mean, it's true, obviously, but is week 2 the week to be doing that? I'll come back to that. Impact of language in online communication. How language choices, register, and tone influence the effectiveness and interpretation of online communication. Okay, discuss the challenges of conveying meaning, nuance in text-based digital platforms. Yes, explore the impact of linguistic diversity and language barriers in online interactions. I like all that. I like all of that. Okay, let's take a look at the nonverbal. There we go. We have a verbal and a nonverbal. So we're kind of covering, like nonverbal is definitely the larger section of meaning, but the verbal kind of it kind of punches above its weight class. So it, even though it's less, there's a lot going on that can be analyzed and understood and have significant impacts. You know what I mean? And it's specific and well defined, and like so, all those reasons. Even though nonverbal communication is by far the more important. The role of nonverbal cues in online interaction. Okay, we'll have to, I guess that's just a title. Discuss the challenges and limitations of nonverbal communication in digital contexts. Now, I like kind of doing the different nonverbal codes, kind of like, hey, here's the codes. And for a few reasons is that it kind of prepares any communication students for their 400 level courses when they're kind of the broken down that way. So let me get this. So you know what? Okay. I think class 3 is looking pretty good. So let's put that into our, yeah, boom. 2, class 3, impact. What do we got? Oh, okay. Here we go. Boom. V. Remember, this is just a command backslash in order to get that gone. That's heading 2. Let's do a command backslash. Let's do just normal text. There we go. I want to have a space after list item. Okay. Online communication, like it. Let's take a look at number 4. Nonverbal communication. All right. I wanted to, the reason I did that was so I could have an ability to I'm you know what? I kind of like maybe I'll just yeah. So then I have the oh, here we go. And then we have new perspectives on duality. So I'm gonna have to look that up. Um I might use the databases that I have available to me. Now I have EBSCOhost and JSTOR. So I very much am missing LexisNexis. I do like that one a lot, but sadly, I do not have access to that one. So, but as a for this journal article, if it's not full text right here, it looks like it. Yeah, Yeah, I might be able to find it in my own personal database, but it gives you enough to assess whether or not it is an appropriate piece of reading material for 100 level college students. Okay, and you kind of forget. I know I forgot what it was like to be a freshman in college, and so it took me a while when I started teaching to learn what that is, and you start picking up on the complexity of the language choices in the readings that you're choosing, and whether or not they're at that point, right? So like be careful with the number of journal articles. It kind of gets a little overwhelming. And not only that, but for a new media course, if you're going to journal articles, that seems kind of antithetical. Now, I do believe and have a solid academic foundation, and so I'm definitely going to have those. But in like week one, I'm thinking that I'm going to use the Wikipedia entry on new media as a jumping off point, because I think it just seems to be nice and in line with the content. And therefore, we can open up a discussion about how Wikipedia works and what the method is to participate in the creation of Wikipedia, maybe on the new media webpage. Oh, this is a number of papers. This would be too much. This is like this is a whole selection of dual patterning. It's a whole book. And so I'd have to see what those, yeah. And oftentimes the international readings, those are not what I consider freshman level, definitely senior level. You know what I mean? It's like, but uh, yeah, I think that I want to kind of ease them into it and not overwhelm them in week two with this level of reading. But I'm still going to have it on my um, my reading list here. So I'm kind of changing the formatting. I have to go back and redo the formatting. It's probably a good idea to do it this way, because then you know what information lines up with which ideas. Um, okay, so now let's work on class number 4, nonverbal cues. Okay, so what I want to do, the reason why I did all of that was so I could do I took a nonverbal communication course in like 400 level, and I loved it. I thought it was great. And I think the reason I loved it was because how well organized it was, that it wasn't forced. And so uh, the what I remember is that I was taught that there were 7, but I think that there is even a little bit of debate about how many there are. So let's take a look. Nonverbal codes include facial expressions, eye contact, gestures, time management, silence, space, touch, senses, tone. So this one has 9, but I was taught 7, and I think that I think eyes and face might be. Ooh, God! Now it's been so long. I forget what the exact list was. I could have recited it at the end there, so I might have to go and review some of my old stuff. To compare it to this one. Not that I don't like this one. Like obviously this one is relevant and it's topical. But whether or not it lines up, it's not bad. So, and touch and senses, interesting. Tone. See, so vocalics I definitely had as one of them, and I don't remember sensorics. Huh. Vocalics was also known as like study of language and paralanguage. So yeah, I think that vocalics was one instead of paralanguage, but I think those are kind of used synonymously. I think face and eyes might have been one category. Kinesics, so body movement, that would be gestures. So gestures seems a little limiting on as far as kinesics goes. Yeah, time. Okay, cool. All right, so I like that. Um, okay, so let's organize. Let's see what ChatGPT thinks nonverbal communication codes are. Organize nonverbal codes. Organize class 4 around nonverbal codes. Let's see what it says. I like challenging it. So, boom, boom, boom. Define number. Huh. Nope. 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 Not at all. Not at all. Let's see if anyone else has a different sort of take than Webster University on the C6 codes. Was it 6 or 7? Oh man, it might have been 6 now. Darn it. It goes to show you kind of have to sharpen your memory every once in a while. If you let it go too long, then things start blending and becoming different. All right. There are 6 different codes each are relationships. So there are 6 kinesics, haptics, proxemics, vocalics, chronemics. Okay. Environment. Okay, so the nonverbal communication goes are personal presentation and environment, kinesics, haptics, chronemics, haptics. Spell it wrong. Nope. Proxemics. Make that an E. Uh, vocalics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. There we go. All right. So I think that's a really good example of where your expertise um, helps guide ChatGPT better than ChatGPT does itself, right? So there are specific um, vocalics. You only did 4. Haptics, limitations of possibility. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Kinesics. Okay. Um, for class 4, include all 6 codes for class 4. Um, include examples and suggest reading material. Matter rail. Okay. Okay. Personal presentation. I like it. All right. So, how you present yourself and okay, explore. So, avatars, online personas, online identities. Okay, explore how digital environment. Duh, that's excellent. Including virtual backgrounds. Might talk a little bit about meta there. Okay, good. I provide examples of how personal presentations impact. No, no. Okay. Um, provide examples. So it just says provide examples. Now I wanted you to do that, Chat GPT. Um, now I'm thinking that nonverbal communication might need its own week, and then we'd have to push something else back. I'm thinking that like language and then the communication model would be all in 1 week. Like that could be week 2, and then week 3 might be nonverbal communication. So because it is so freaking long now, but at the same time, I love that it is. Yeah, I don't know. I think it makes sense to me. So and then it does give it. And see, the thing is, nonverbal communication is just huge. Um, so let's do that. Let's see what that does. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I think that we've been going at it for a good amount of time, and so let's see how this impacts the um, how it impacts the overall organization. All right. So we're going to do week 3. And I think what we're going to do is that's just going to be that's just going to be heading 1. Okay. Um, so, and now what do I want to do? I already got that. I'm going to double check that it's on my, there we go. Oh, no, I don't. I have to replace it. Boom. All right. We're going to come back up here and we're going to backspace that sucker. All right. Let's just do normal text. And now what we can do is, um, boom, boom. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing again. Heading 2. Okay, so, but then what we also want to do is, boom, we want class 4, language and new media. We're going to do the communication model, right? Make sure we get that. Nonverbal codes in communication. Yeah, you know what? And so let's just kind of leave it like that, and might switch around that organization. Um, a little bit, but I need to. So what I'm going to do before I come back for the next episode is I'm going to fill that in on my own time, and so like I'm just going to do a really quick prompt for ChatGPT to generate a communication model presentation that's tailored toward a new media class. Um, I might do that in a second, but like what I want to do, and then I might massage, week 3 a little bit. Oh, let's make sure that it says class 5. Oh, right now it's just 5 and 6. I might come back and change that so like class 5 has is distinct from class 6. But let's do this overview here. All right. So don't be afraid to switch up your battle plan. All right. It's not a battle plan. It's just your game plan. And so when it comes along, you're like, ooh, you know what? This is an opportunity to do something different, or to make it a little bit more compatible with all the other communication courses. All right, and so we're going to go to hmm. All right, all I'm going to do is we're going to just call this week 3 verbal communication. We're just going to do class 5 is non There we go. So I'll fill that in a little bit, but the language, so we're going to get rid of the nonverbal right there. What we're going to do is we're going to have boom. This is going to be the communication model. All right. Okay. So about the communication model in new media. Move move the language class to class 4. Keep it the same. Move non rook to classes 5 and 6. Revise week 2, communication model, new media, introduction to communication, explain the components of the communication sender receiver, discuss the interactive transactional nature of communication in digital age. That's cool. Absolutely. How the term interactive takes on like a renewed meaning through new media. Interesting. So that gives me ideas. Cool. Communication and immediate. Okay. Okay. So the sender receiver message channel encoding decoding. They got it. They got it. Okay. So boom, boom, boom. Let's go. Oh, yeah. This is the overall, so I don't have this level of detail here. Okay, let's go down to here, up to here. Boom, boom. Okay, we'll paste that in, remove the formatting. Nice. Okay. There we go. That works. That works. Language and communication. Yeah. Okay, that's better now, I think. Yeah. There we go. And so we've basically kind of done, and so for, yeah. So you're going to see at the end of this. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to, I think I'm going to deal with week 3. Might have to massage this out a little bit more, but get some more of the reading material. So next week we might have a shorter version of that, but I want to kind of continue doing that. Oh, I still haven't amended the remainder of the schedule that was affected by it. Right, like so far, right now, it looks like it's a 17-week class when we only have 16 weeks. So I'm definitely going to make some cuts somewhere along the way, and you should not be afraid to do that. Okay, that you should, when you're creating a course, you remember things that you didn't remember when you first laid out the overall grand scheme. Like when I first generated the 16 weeks as like an overview, it was just a rough sort of suggestion about what to do. And so now we need to make sure that we are dealing with things in a really thorough way, and a way that is consistent with the literature within the entire field of communication, not just within the stuff that I find on Google searches or what ChatGPT throws out there. All right, and so I want to make sure that I'm using the education that I gained in going through my degree, and make sure that the content I'm putting out there is consistent with all that. And so it really feels nice to be able to use that stuff for productive and creative ways in this series now, and in my class. But it also means that sometimes you have to make modifications as you go. All right. Well, regardless, I think it was productive. The class is, we're almost at the first quarter, and we're doing good. So catch me again next week, and we will tease out some of these details more and more. All right. All right. See ya.